What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another How I Would Make It video. The series, of course, where I sit here and I tell you about sequels that never happened or movies that that people recommend to me that, how would you make the movie? So, anyway, let's get into this. So, this one was requested by the Spider-Man. So, he asked me how I would make Man of Steel 2. That's a very, very, very interesting and very awesome thing to talk about because I'm not sure if DC has planned out that the second movie of Man of Steel yet, but no word of a second movie 100% yet. So I figured, you know what, I'll throw my 2 cents in there. Maybe they'll take some hints or maybe some like, hey, maybe this would be a good idea from this YouTuber, but I don't know. But yeah, so let's get into this. So, who would the main villain be? This was a very hard thing to decide. Originally, I was gonna have it either be Brainiac, or I was gonna have it be like Livewire, or like Parasite, or maybe even Metallo. But then I was like, no, it doesn't work. It just seems right now the way the DC movies are and the way that they're going like high to low, I'd rather start with something a little bit more high stakes. A little bit more high stakes. Because the first movie was Zod, right? And he was invading the whole Earth. And he was going to basically turn it into Krypton. So how can you top that? So I thought about it. The villain for the movie would be Mongul. The reason why I'm picking Mongul is because I have a really cool idea about how I would help Superman's character, because in the DC movies right now, his character is very very distant from mankind right now, and I don't like that. I want him to be a little bit more ground to earth with the humans, because that's how he is. That's how he is in the comics and like in the Christopher Reeves movies. Like, that's what I want. And I understand that this is not Christopher Reeves. This is a different Superman. But you gotta at least morph it into that a little bit. So this is how I would make Man of Steel 2. I would have Mongul invade Earth, and he doesn't like invade it meaning like he has troops on the ground or any of that. I mean, like, he shows up, he's like, hey, I'm looking for your Earth's greatest champion. And then Superman's got to decide, am I going to be the one to do it? Because I don't know if I would have like any other League members as far as Justice League members in this movie, because obviously this would take place after the events of the Justice League movie, because he has to come back because of what happened to Batman v Superman. So Superman decides, all right, I'll go and be the champion of Earth. And but here's the thing: Superman is very distant from mankind in these movies lately. So the movie would focus on him protecting Earth by doing these like arena fights, but he has no powers. And I understand, and I bet some of you are sitting there thinking to yourselves like, why would you make a Superman movie without Superman having powers? And I thought about that. Of course, I would have like a little bit of a prologue in the beginning of the movie with him like saving people or whatever, cats out of trees, whatever, But the movie would be majority of him being on War World, which is Mongul's little like arena fight, and that's where all these fights would take place for defending of other champions of their planets, their planets. So, and whoever the victor is gets to decide what the fate of those planets would be. Especially Mongul, since he's the boss. But yeah, I know it's a little weird having a movie basically about Superman barely any parts with him having powers. I know it's a little bit iffy, but I think this would be good for his character. This would be a good character development movie because I would have the movie focus more on Superman accepting his role as Earth's defender because, we've had those talks where, he doesn't owe Earth anything. He doesn't have to protect Earth. He doesn't have to do it, but he just chooses to. I want him in this movie to accept his role as the defender and the protector of Earth. And that's what I would push towards in this movie. I thought about even some crazy, weird costume designs because I don't know if I want to give him a new costume or something. Maybe I could do something a little bit more non-godlike, like Zack Snyder's been doing. Something more ground to earth. Maybe a little bit more raggy. Maybe in the middle of the movie he'd have a beard, maybe, because he's been fighting for a while, without powers and stuff. So I think it would be a very interesting and a different take for a Superman film because you're taking away the thing that makes him Superman, which is his powers. So, again, this would be more of a character-driven story, and I think that a lot of Superman fans would love and appreciate it because it's not about his powers, it's about what the movie would be about his moral code, his moral compass, what he believes, him accepting the role as the hero of Earth and all that. That's what the point of the movie would be. And, by the time he finally gets to fight Mongul, maybe I'll, give him his abilities a little bit, with some of his powers. As he's fighting him, he'll get all of his powers back. That would be kind of cool. Maybe there's a crack somewhere of the sun. I don't know. It'd be really cool and interesting. I could do this a couple different ways, but that's how I would make the movie. I would make the movie more about his character, Clark's character, Superman's character, rather than, hey, it's just Superman, he's got powers, he can save people, blah, blah, blah. I want it to focus more on him just, accepting the role, because he's kind of been thrown into it, like in Man of Steel. He was just kind of oh, I gotta do this. In Batman v Superman, Doomsday, oh, I gotta fight Doomsday now. Maybe even in Justice League, oh, I gotta fight Darkseid now. No. Let's focus on Clark's character. Let's not just throw Superman into all these fights. Let's try to do this differently and more of a character type of movie. So, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that this would be a good idea? I think it would be a good idea strictly because of the way the DC movies have been lately. The way that they have been, making the movies, the way that they have been, a little dark, a little weird tone. The tone's been a little crazy. So as far as tone for this movie, since I'm talking about tone, it would be a little bit darkish, but it would, at the end of the movie, it would, grow to a lighter movie because, it's a process for his character. It would be this process while he's fighting all of these other types of, people or aliens. He's starting to be hey, I'm not the only alien, or I'm not the only one in the world. Because that's what he's been for a while. It's oh, I'm so different. Oh, I'm, no, I would try to focus on making him feel less of that, so I could sit here and I could actually go over more about this, but I'm pretty sure they have something planned for this movie. I think with Man of Tomorrow, whatever they're going to call it, but that's how I would do the movie. I would have the villain be Mongul, and I would make the story more about the character of Superman rather than, the powers of Superman. Man of Steel was more about the powers of Superman, and it was more about like him having to become Superman, and you know, it had in Batman v Superman, it had a lot of, again, it had a lot of, you know, the very depressing, like, oh, people don't accept me, yada yada yada. So this one, I would turn the tables, because in Man of Steel, I know I'm getting a little long-winded here, but I have a point here I want to make. The first movie was more about like Superman showing himself to the world. The second movie, I would be you know, him accepting his place on Earth, you know, and that's where he would belong. Like that's what I would try to be doing for his character. But I don't know. You know, I'm just throwing ideas out there. Let me know what you guys think in comments. And till then, guys, I'm out of here. Up, and away. See you guys.